What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Savage.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Theory for Theory. We have a first-time guest for Theory for Theory, second time on the channel. Kev was here for the Reverie, and but everybody, if you don't know who this is Kev D OG, Kev Dog. So welcome to the channel. Most people in the chat probably recognize you because, you know, I'm always seeing you in the chat too, man. Yeah, man, and you know, you're always hitting me from time to time with some neat thoughts and things like that. So that's stuff that I want to get into today. But you know, first we gotta, you know, this is our first Theory for Theory together. So let's talk to the people. Let's give them your origin story. You know, how did you become the OG? Oh my God. Yep.
Going on, you know.
Okay.
the Randy room.
There we go. Do a test for me, man.
All right. Hello, chat. Thank you for the message. Let's see if it's good now. There he is. Kev D mute, bro. Kev D mute. Oh, sounds good. Okay. Fire.
Yeah, there we go. Kev was just saying how he's a member.
I'm a member of the Savage crew. Yeah, exactly. What was it? Like the origin story? You know how this all came to be was I got into One Piece during lockdown, like a ton of people. And because of that, before lockdown, I did start getting into it, but then school started back up because I was in college at the time. And, you know, then COVID happened, and I'm like, well, I could finally get into this now because now I have nothing stopping me. Because when I first started getting into it, I actually was, I got all the way to Syrup Village, and I actually really liked Usopp from the beginning. So, you know, Usopp haters, no, I don't comprehend the Usopp haters. So, and then it's hilarious because I didn't. You know, obviously you're a Sanji guy, heat on feet, you know how it is. And I didn't get to Baratier at all during that first time watching we were watching at the time.
So you just stopped at Sierra Village.
Yeah, because I had college and stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm way too busy at this point. So I'm like, if I get into it still, then I won't be able to fully get into it. You know what I mean?
Because I've definitely heard of people stopping at Sierra Village, but not because
I
happened.
stopped. It was a good stopping point. I was like, Usopp's here. I like Usopp. He's cool. But no, it's ironic that I did stop at Syrup Village, though. That is ironic. Then I kept watching. I blitzed through it in COVID because after Arlong Park, I got addicted. I was like, okay, no, I'm in now. I'm in. And then I read through like all of Alabasta in like a day, and all of Skypiea in like 2 days. And I was just like, oh god, this is going really fast now. And then when I got to Water 7 Ennie's Lobby, and I hit I Want to Live, it was specifically when I hit that, I was like, okay, I have to go slower now. I have to go slower, or else this peak is gonna pass by me too fast, you know? And then I started watching. I was reading Baratier to, I guess, the end of Ennie's Lobby, because I started watching it Thriller Bark. After all that, so many people are like, "Oh, the anime made Ennie's Lobby," and I'm like, "No, it didn't. It was great on its own, you know." And then eventually, you know, I catch all the way up to Wano and start reading Wano. I just distinctly remember the killer is Hitakiri Kamazo chapter, and I was like, "No way, because like
that was a good reveal." That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was one of the better ones in Wano for sure.
Yeah, because I remember as I started reading One Piece, I started realizing, like, I guess patterns and stuff, and like how things would get revealed. So the second kid showed up in the prison with him, I was like, it's Killer. It's gotta be Killer. It's gotta be. Because we haven't seen him this whole arc, and I'm like, what's going on? And then it happened.
A lot of
like,
people were like, is he dead?
Oh,
did he get killed by Kaido?
Was Killer dead? Oh, that would be crazy. I didn't think about that. Because, you know,
I mean, that was a conversation that was happening at the time.
That sounds sick, though. I would be a fan of that. That would have been awesome. What's it called, though? Yeah, but then eventually I started, you know, reading weekly as the stuff would come out. I used to watch people like, you know, the GOAT, King Recon. Also, shouts to him. Man just graduated college.
Yo,
let's go.
Shout out to the coach.
Yeah.
Showing everybody how it's done.
Yeah, for real. And I used to watch what started getting me into One Piece YouTube was watching reactions of the Yonko bounty chapter. That was the specific thing. I'm like, all right, I gotta see what other people think of this. If I'm losing my mind, other people must be going crazy. Like people who have been reading for like years and years and years, in comparison to like me, who started like a few months before then, right?
We're talking like, what was that, like 1053 or?
Oh no, not the Buggy Yonko one. I'm talking about like Big Mom's bounty and like Roger's bounty and all that.
957.
Yeah. I was like, this is what got me into it. I'm like,
right.
I need to
because I was like,
this.
I felt like you were in the community earlier than that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And I started doing videos and stuff because I was in Wano, you know, we were having a fun time in the raid, of course. No fatigue whatsoever happened for anyone, I'm sure. And it was at chapter 1013 when I was like, okay. I had a stupid theory that was brewing for like a long time in my brain, but I never heard anyone talk about it. But that also is because I wasn't in the One Piece YouTube like scene at the time, which was the Vegapunk is the Doctor from Godzilla theory that I made like so long ago at this point. But that's what it was like, all right, if people could make some theory about anything, like this is possible, you know what I mean? This isn't impossible. So I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna make a video. And then I'm like, well, if I'm making a video, I might as well put my thoughts on the chapters. And then that led to this now. That led to this massive it's like Sisyphus and the Rock just fell down the hill. It's like, here we go.
So I remember 1014 was Kiku got stabbed.
Savage.
Then 1013, what was that? Was that the chopper slap?
Oh, so the reason I made the whole theory was because Big Mom used her first ever combined ability. It was called the Mazer Cannon. Okay. Which is a weapon in Godzilla, and that's what led to all this. And I'm like, okay, Godzilla's getting referenced now, finally. 1,000 chapters deep. I'm like, this is possible, guys. This is possible.
Oh, and I mean, hey, you know, look at what we're dealing with now.
Yeah, giant monsters and stuff.
So
what's gonna happen?
What was your first review then? Like, or your first video, like, you know, like anything.
My first video. So actually, I think it was 1013. I know. I think I might have done a video on it and then a theory on it. I don't know, but I distinctly remember some videos from my early time aging rather well. Like why Carrot will not join the Straw Hats. That was a great video. You know, it's just like I felt it in my soul, and I even said in the video that she would become the leader of Zoe. And that happened at the end of Wano. And then when everyone got mad at that, I'm like, what? What?
Well, you also
had that's what Vivi was the whole time. Well, Vivi's a Straw Hat, though.
Exactly. Well, I know you also were a big supporter of Buggy for Yonko. So, Yonko Buggy, you know, yes, I mean, sir. Like, he's got to fail upwards. How, you know, can we get much higher?
So high.
That is... So high. That's as high as it goes. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Now, when you started watching it through the bark, Were you watching like the regular anime, or did you do One Piece?
No, actually, I saw your video on One Piece, and then I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I got all the way to, I think I was watching with a friend because he's already seen the show, and he was like telling me, okay, pay attention to this. This stuff doesn't really matter, stuff like that. Obviously everything matters in One Piece, but he's telling me about like how he had to watch all this garbage, like super padded stuff. Like he was telling me about Longland being like, I think 30 episodes in the anime or something. I'm just like, oh my god, I can't even imagine that because it was like 10 chapters at most.
Yeah, no, they added a bunch of games, and Foxy took Robin also, and yeah.
Oh my god, Lucci and Foxy have competition with one another. That's crazy. What's it called though? Yeah, so I started, and we got all the way to like Wano or Whole Cake. I'm trying to remember which one. I think Wano, and then the site shuts down while watching, and we're like, did it just die right while we were watching the episode or whatever? It was crazy. And then that was when they got like, I don't know if they got sued or
no, they just got hit with like a DMCA. Yeah. So
that was so fun.
They could still have the tournaments, they just couldn't do the streams anymore. But that was quite a time. But hey, I'm glad you watched. Support the official, everybody. But
definitely.
But the One Piece is it's the closest thing to getting
for now until maybe the remake. The remake we'll have to wait and see.
Which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I really hope, no offense to the Funimation team, but I really hope that Netflix like has Iñaki and Emily and Kenyu.
Oh, it's the voices.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's like that's my agenda. Like I hope that happens.
That'd be really cool. I feel like this might be a weird thing. Do you think if they're doing a full remake of the whole show, are they going to use the same audio in Japanese, or are they going to like re-record with maybe like new people? I was wondering that for a while because this could go on for like years and years and years, obviously.
I mean that's a big question, and a lot of people are like wondering, like is like Mayumi going to do it all over again? She wants to retire, so that might be like one of the things where. I don't know. Some people might end up getting replaced.
Yeah.
I think their goal would be to have it, but it's like that's going to be really disjointed if like the first season of it is the core Straw Hats and everything, and then as it goes on, eventually, like at some point, they all just switch. I don't know. So it may end up being a thing where it's like if you want to watch it in Japanese, watch the Toei, and then like maybe this remake is actually like the definitive English version.
Okay.
That's cool. I don't know. Like it's not. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, I don't assume you would. I'm just purely.
No, I mean, no. It's just it's completely separate from anything that I've been connected to. Shout out to Eric Veltri, that's a member for 21 months, who said, "No better way to celebrate my birthday and Luffy's birthday than Theory for Theory. Captain, maybe do the thing." Oh yeah, I got you with the birthday button.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Eric. And he's sharing a birthday with the GOAT.
Yeah, with the GOAT.
Yeah. My birthday shared with Usopp. Maybe that's why I liked him so much, We don't know.
Let's see. I think my birthday is shared with Whitey Bay.
Oh, fantastic.
I think that's right. DJ BJ32, member for 34 months, said, "Theory for Theory time. Sending love to this amazing community. Appreciate you." Vasil Vlad Ivanovici with the 10, appreciate you, said, "If the broadcast is being carried by the Revolutionaries, there's a chance that Robin also has a recording prepared in which she reveals the truth about the Ancient Kingdom. I don't know if Robin would have a recording prepared. I would rather Robin, like, if she has anything to say, that it's in a live format. You know,
I agree.
Like, I want her to pick up the mic and drop the mic, not play a message like Vegapunk's doing.
I do think it's interesting, though, because the idea of it being like a pre-recorded thing isn't impossible, because she was on Baltigo for like such a long time. We've seen her interact with the Revs in the time skip, obviously. In Wano, you know, we saw her, you know, training with Sabo and Koala and even Hack. You know, that's not impossible, but I agree with you. The live, you know, I think that would hit more.
I think my concern with it is that when the broadcast started playing, most of the revolutionaries, except for Dragon, seemed surprised that it was happening, and you know, were unaware of it. So that would mean that Dragon and Robin, you know, have some sort of deeper connection about a lot of this, even though in 1066, Robin was like, "Oh, Dragon never told me that he knew Clover." You know, so it's like, what did he tell you? What conversations did you have? You know, you're the light of the revolution, but do you even know why you're the light of the revolution? You don't know why he went to Ohara, why he had flowers. Like, you know, like I'm still, you know, I'm team Dragon is Robin's dad, you know, and
yeah, I was gonna say that's like the connection they may have. I didn't want to say it, but like, I don't know, the theory. I feel like that theory is interesting, and it has like a kind of cool connection with like Luffy saving Robin as well. I think that's very like sweet, and I don't know if they are related. I kind of want them to never find out, because it's like, I don't know, because I think a lot of my favorite moments in One Piece are about like family, and about how sometimes family can be the worst thing ever, like Vin Smokes and all that, obviously, except for Reiju and Sora, you know. But sometimes, you know, family can be something that's not related at all, like Belmare, Nami, Zeph and Sanji, obviously, because I just brought up the Vin Smokes, you know. So I don't know. I think that'd be really cool if they say they are related. They just never find out. You know.
I think it's okay in that scenario. Like, obviously, One Piece is filled with found family, and you know, like, it's not always about the about your blood. You know, it's about who is in your life, who picks up the slack. You know, it's and clearly, you know, Dragon is you know, dear Luffy, I'm sorry that your father is unresponsive.
Oh my god, bro. And you got Shanks saying, I'll mentor you.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, that, you know, this is, you know, meet the monkeys.
That's crazy.
The monkey D's.
Oh my god.
No. No, but the thing here, right, is that if Robin and Luffy were related, I feel like it's okay. Because Robin has been moving through her life without family this entire time. And it's a literal version of found family. Like, she literally found, you know, potentially her half-brother or something like that. Like, there's a lot of ways to make it work. Olvia and Dragon are the exact same age. You know, and it's depending on, you know, which way you look at that translation when they're talking about Robin's father, it's either, depending on the translation, like, the unofficial makes it seem like he's dead, but the official makes it seem like Dragon, sorry, not Dragon, but like whoever Robin's father is actually like still alive. And the other thing too is, like, it doesn't have to be Dragon's, you know, it doesn't have to be that Dragon is the father, but it could be that, you know, what if Garp had another child that we don't know about, who died or something like that, and then it's like Dragon's picking up the slack, so he's actually the uncle pulling up to Ohara with flowers for his sister-in-law or something like that. But it's like there's still definitely a deeper connection here with like Dragon and Clover that needs to be addressed, because it's like, was Clover Dragon's Shanks? Like,
that's sick. I never heard that before. I like that though.
Because he specifically like, forget the headcanon, forget me talking about, anything about Robin. Like, let's talk about what's actually in the text. He shows up with flowers for Clover, meaning he had a relationship with Clover. Dragon is the most wanted man in the world. Why would he be the most wanted man in the world unless he was as dangerous as Vegapunk? And what makes Vegapunk dangerous? He has information, and he's been studying the poneglyphs. So for Dragon to be considered even a tier above Vegapunk, like, he must know just as much or more in some capacity, which I don't even understand how that would be possible without the no mi no mi no mi. But he must know things, and if he learned them from Clover, then there's a little bit of a connection there. And maybe the freedom fighters were archaeologists. Maybe maybe Nico Olvia and a lot of the people from Ohara were the freedom fighters. The Revolutionary Army started after Ohara. Did the Revolutionary Army start because all of the freedom fighters were killed on Ohara? Like, we don't know. But we know that Dragon had a connection to Ohara, a deep one.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting, because we know that started the Revolutionary Army, but we don't know what caused the end of the freedom. Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. And I like the Shanks angle as well, because Shanks, he didn't really tell Luffy anything necessarily. He didn't tell him about Roger. He didn't tell him about Rayleigh, anything. He was just a cool guy who kind of led him in a way. But Clover being, very open with telling information, obviously taught Robin all the info. Well, he didn't purposefully. Robin snuck in, but he was very, welcoming to her, made her feel like she belonged, obviously. Maybe we don't know Dragon's backstory very much at all, except that he was a Marine and then left and became a revolutionary. But what if that was like the build up to that, Maybe it was when he was like really young, just like Luffy,
Every character in this story has had someone who isn't their parent that they, looked up to and put them on like a particular path. And I don't know. Clover trying to like turn the world upside down in a way kind of makes me think of Dragon now. And like that's my headcanon. That he was in some form or fashion a mentor for him, and they knew each other when he was young. And like when we actually get a Dragon backstory, I think Clover is going to be a part of it.
Yeah, that would be sick. I actually really like the whole idea, and I do want to add to the. Yeah, this is pure speculation here, but the idea that like, Olvia might be a sister-in-law, you said, to Dragon, so Dragon might have other siblings. There's still the idea Dragon might not be Garp's kid, because I don't know if you've heard the theory, but like Garp's kid is actually like a girl, and Dragon married into the family. Dragon could be the in-law. Yeah.
So
fire theory.
I think that Dragon is Garp's kid.
Okay.
I love that. I love that idea. And shout out to Dawn of the World. Like, I love the idea and the theory that, Rox could be the other grandfather. I have a whole video that's already shot that I'm editing. We're going into all of that, and save it for the video.
Little sneak peek, sneak peek.
But it's I have a lot of convincing evidence for why Dragon is actually Garp's kid. So
okay.
Yeah,
you might be chefing it up, bro. You might be chefing it up.
The video might be my magnum opus. We'll see.
Okay. Love to see it. Yeah.
Love this. This is said, Randy, I'm just letting you know if Kendrick drops, I'm dipping.
Hey, Yeah, honestly, fair.
It's fair. And the most fair part about it is that he might.
He might. I was saying before. Yeah, I was saying before the stream. I was talking while we were setting up the thing. I was like, yeah, I went out, and while I was out, it was pouring rain. I'm just no umbrella, pouring rain, and I'm just like, he dropped again. He dropped again. It was like, I think 8 p.m. for me, so like 5 for you. I'm just like, oh my god, he did it again. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to Chrissy in the chat. She said, "Hey, Kev."
Yeah, shout out to Chrissy as well. Hello, Chrissy. Let me see. Oh my god.
So yeah, how are you feeling with everything that's going on in Egghead, in totality and in recent events?
So I just recently, I hope I have the picture still. I just recently did like a tier list because, like I said, I started at chapter 1013, and we just literally hit 1113. I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
100 chapters of Kev D OG.
100 chapters, bro. And I was like, this is wild. Like, I can't even imagine. You know, because people are always like, oh, One Piece is so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like,
my first review was 1067.
Oh wow.
He left.
What about reactions? Did you do the reactions before then though? Yeah.
Reactions it started at 997.
There we go. Almost at 150 with Randy. You know, you don't realize. But what's it called? So I did like a fun tier list stream because I'm like, why not? You know, this is something that I think would be interesting. And I was like, I'm going to be called a Oda Angel, but most of Egghead for me is an S tier. Like, most of it is. I don't know. I was like really rocking with pretty much everything that's happening. I'm trying to see if I find the picture real quick. Is it this one? Yeah. Yeah. So this is like most of Egghead already. It's like, wow. I look like such an Oda Angel, but I'm like, I don't really care. I don't really care, I guess. I don't know. It's literally like 30 chapters in S tier.
I mean, hey, look, he's been putting out a lot of heat, especially the stuff that's outside of Egghead.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of the recent stuff on Egghead I could see going into S. Some of the, the early stuff, the setup stuff, like, I'm not going to put that in S. But, I think, just offhand, I think my favorite chapter that I've had since I was, since I've, been, doing live reactions and everything is probably 1058. Like, seeing Crocodile return, the cross-killed with Buggy's head and all that.
That was a great chapter.
Sharing Gear 5 with everybody, obviously, that was phenomenal also. But, yeah, I mean, you're a fellow Buggy enjoyer.
Oh, I'm a Buggy enjoyer, yeah. I'm a Buggy enjoyer.
Let's talk about Buggy. You got any hot takes? You got any, thoughts that, any thoughts on the way that you think the Buggy story is going to go? Like, I've talked ad nauseum about I want a Davy back fight, but I want to hear. Yeah,
which is a fire video, by the way, for those who haven't seen. Yeah, that was a great video. I remember I was watching it, and then you did like little animations in it, and there's like Chopper as the ball getting like tunked in. It was so fire. Yeah, no, I love that idea. The weakling trio, that part, I was like, oh, I'm in. I'm so in for this. Yeah, I would love if that happens. For me, like, he's got to be on Laugh Tale. He's got to be. I feel like they set that up in the Roger flashback with like, oh, we'll get there one day. And it's not just Shanks saying he'll get there. It's we'll get there. And Oda is very, very good at keeping, stuff like that in check. Like, As much as people think Luffy isn't going to be Shanks because Shanks is going to die, there's no chance. In my opinion, there's no chance that this doesn't happen. Like, it's not JJK, bro. They're not killing off this main character out of nowhere. I don't know season 2 at all. I mean, I'm not even. I think I'm around. You said you saw the movie, so you're further than me already. Oh, okay. I just, you know what I mean.
All right.
I still have to watch season 2 because apparently, there's like one fight that people were gassing up that wasn't even finished, and I'm like, oh, I might as well wait. I mean, until it's finished. I think it's done now. I don't really know. So I've just been waiting forever. But the JJK aside, like most modern stuff, I would say, they're just like very willy-nilly killing off characters because it's just like, oh, that's going to get people invested. You know, I feel like that's a common thing a lot of series do now. And
yeah, Oda doesn't do that.
I don't know.
I tell people all the time, there's a lot of things that are guaranteed in the story. And Shanks and Luffy meeting, guaranteed. Zoro and Mihawk fighting, guaranteed.
Yep.
And I feel like Buggy at Laugh Tale's a guarantee, but it's not as written in the text as everything else. You know, it's just those really early things that Oda promised us. We're gonna get that stuff. We're gonna get it. So I don't think anybody needs to really like worry about that, stress about that. There are a lot of creators that would subvert that and say like, I had them waiting 25 years. Yeah, but look, I'm going to pull the rug out for you. Yes, Shiryu's going to kill Mihawk before Zoro gets the chance, and Blackbeard's going to kill Shanks.
I hate that Shiryu Mihawk theory. I hate it so much. It's just like, that would be like the biggest like tease for no reason. It's like, I don't know. It's ridiculous to me. It's just like, how are they not going to do... Think about, like, and this is just pure marketing. Think about how much money they can make off of that fight. Think about it. There would be posters everywhere. There would be, like, the anime episode, that could be an hour long, and people would watch all of it. It would be in theaters, you know what I mean? It's just like, this is something people have been waiting for. Literally, people probably have had kids since they were waiting, and then they could take their kids to see this movie. You know what yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous. Like,
yeah, no. Zoro versus Mihawk, that's definitely gonna be cinema. That is a
yeah.
That's fight night. That's pay-per-view. You gotta pay to watch that.
Exactly. Instead of the Davey back fight, now it's a UFC fight. You don't know what's gonna happen here. People are gonna be on stake gambling on who's gonna win, Zoro or Mihawk. We don't know.
Yeah. You know, and Barry in the chat was like, is doing the opposite of that subversion or shock factor? I mean, it's both. You know, it's mostly shock factor, but it's subversion for the people who want to sound cool when they like it. And it's cheap. It's cheap. And Oda isn't doing a story for cheap hits. He's trying to craft the perfect story. And even when that means that sometimes he will go the route of the Occam's razor. That he will go the route that is most predictable. Because he's still going to have unpredictable moments hidden without. I mean hidden throughout. But those big ticket things, like, could Shanks die? Yeah, but it'll be after Luffy and him have a conversation. Like, that moment where they discuss, like, what's going to happen with the hat. You know, like, I mean, I still feel like it's my ideal scenario. And the way that I always see it is, forget the location or anything like that. The moment that Luffy and Shanks meet, they are going to fight, in my opinion. And it's going to be like an exhibition. An exhibition. It's going to be just spar.
For fun. You know, nothing serious.
Yeah.
You know?
When Luffy and Shanks see each other, it's going to be on site. It's going to be an exhibition match. Luffy looks at Shanks and he thinks that being a great pirate is being strong. So he's going to go Gear 5 or Snake Man or something. And he's going to show that his punch is really as strong as a pistol. And then I just need Shanks because that's one of the last things that of dialogue they actually had. So it's such a layup callback moment for Shanks to just say, "All right, your punch really is like a pistol now." Like, and then they're laughing. You know, like that's what I need from that scenario. And then Luffy can take the hat off and try to give it back to him, and then Shanks just goes, "Looks better on you," and that's it.
That's it.
That's
all
it.
you need.
And some people will be like, "Oh, that's probably, that's the Marco message all over again. We waited 25 years for him to say, 'Keep it, it looks better on you.'" And it's like, if we got that, you need to realize that him saying something like that is, "You're a great pirate."
It's meaningful, you know?
It's all we need. It's just something as simple as that. And then whatever subversion thing that everybody else wants in the story, Blackbeard killing Shanks, blah, 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 like whatever, that can happen after that. We need that moment, and we will get something similar to that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like there are some things that feel like I was thinking about like examples, like what you were saying of like, oh, that's an obvious thing that happens, but all the twists around it, like for example, Cobra dying, that wasn't obvious. It was still shocking, but we know that he's dead. We don't know that Sabo killed him. Like none of us really believe that. So I was kind of like, I'm kind of on board with this. Sabo's a Rev, Revs don't like leaders, maybe, something crazy like that. But then in the reveal of that, it wasn't just him dying that was crazy. It was D Lily. It was Emu having a monster form. The Gorosei all having monster forms. Wapol also seeing it. All this crazy stuff around the situation.
Exactly.
But the situation, we already knew what was going to happen. And I feel like that's how Oda writes a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, he turned the obvious thing into something more interesting. It's like it's not just about what it is. It's also all the factors that lead up to it and what's around it and what happens because of it. Sometimes you need the obvious thing to happen for other things to branch off. And Cobra throughout all of Alabasta was just getting manhandled. Like. Yeah. And it's like, it was no surprise to me when you see him in, I don't know, was it 823 or something, and he's in a wheelchair now and everything. It's just like, Crocodile messed this man up.
Yeah. Poison hook, all the draining. He was out.
Nailed him to the wall. Like, he basically crucified this man. And God, R.I.P. Cobra.
Oh, definitely. One of the better kings of One Piece. One of the better ones.
Yeah. Let's see here. Terrible TJ said in chapter 17, Buggy said that he'd be the god of the pirates if Luffy became king of the pirates. Buggy the rain god incoming, like D-Stream.
Like D-Stream for sure.
Here's the thing, like, Buggy is the first real opponent that Luffy ever faced. The second devil fruit that we ever saw. Oda's favorite character. So Buggy is going to be important. Like,
oh, absolutely.
He's going to be involved in Laugh Tale. His fruit is going to be, way more important, either not by use of him, but potentially in like, whoever his previous user was. We just, like, that's the thing I'm waiting for. We get a Void Century flashback and you see like someone who is like just so nice with it, and they have Buggy's fruit, and it's like, look at the potential for what this fruit can do, and Buggy is completely underutilizing it.
Yeah. I just had like a thought. I feel like Buggy's fruit, if it awakened, would be really similar to like Inazuma's fruit. You remember the scissor fruit?
That's
would,
interesting.
Change the environment. And I just had this crazy thought, because so many people think like, oh, the red line, it was made by like Akainu's fruit in the past, or giants like moving the earth. What if it was Buggy's fruits like chopping up the world and then literally making a ring out of the land, and that's why they're all islands. So like chopped it up and like kind of like paper mache glued it together or some crap like that, I don't know why I just thought of that. It was just like, if Luffy's fruit is going to be this god fruit that's so important, and Buggy is Luffy's first rival, I think it would make sense for Buggy's fruit to be really plot relevant if Luffy's fruit is really plot relevant in like the shaping of the world itself. And if Buggy's fruit was used by the Celestial Dragons and the whatever 20 Kings, I guess they would be at the time, to make the Red Line, then it would make sense that Luffy's fruit would be the thing that was trying to oppose. I don't know. I was just thinking about that, and I'm like, oh no, because people obviously have the theory like Buggy the Crown, like Buggy has some relation to like
cooked here.
either like a king in the past, or maybe Emu even has Buggy's nose. I've heard that a lot, like some kind of funny connection there. Or Rocksteady Buggy, like Buggy has a lot of like potential through lines and stuff, and I just find that really interesting. It's also could just be a meme, but you know. We take him seriously here. We take him seriously.
We do. Yeah, no, you were cooking there. See, like, when I think of Buggy's awakening, I think of it more like Law's fruit. But you took it to the next level there. Because it's, if Luffy can rubberize someone else, right, then Buggy's awakening would mean that he'd be able to split someone else, which is what Law can do. But that, I always felt like there needed to be an extra layer to that on top of it, and that's what you gave. It's like, and not only can he split other people, he can split other things. And then if he has like telekinetic control over his environment,
like plop it all together. That's what
then it would basically be like Shiki's fruit. So if he is like activating the ground, and then he's able to imagine a Chop Chop festival, but it's like, it's just everything around him.
My God. he's like Magneto.
He's like at that point, because it can be knives, it can be the ground, it could be a building, it could be a person. And at that point, like, if the person who had that fruit so many years ago was so broken that they were able to build the Red Line, like that, I mean, I feel like that is definitely a stretch, like, as far as like doing the Red Line, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility when we're talking about this, especially if like it was a giant or an ancient Oni that had the fruit. So already, like, now you're this huge body. You know, what if the continent puller was, you know, had Buggy's fruit or something, and then it's like the continent, he wasn't actually like pulling the continents on his back with chains. He was pulling the continents with the Bara no Mi, like flying or sending them, kind of like how Shiki moves islands. But then at the same time, like, if Shiki's fruit can put all of those islands in the sky and make them completely weightless, then I feel like the Bar maybe could do the Red Line. It could.
I mean, think about Buggy himself is like twirling around like nothing, you know? Like all he needed was something to like hold his feet to the ground, and then he could do anything, you know?
Conrad in the chat just said Buggy's fruit split Pangea.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That would be crazy. And Pangea Castle, you know where that is? Top of the Red Line. That's all I'm saying. What's it though? There's something in there that was crazy. Oars. When we see Oars in Thriller Bark, he's covered in cuts and stitches. Is that foreshadowing to him having Buggy's fruit, like you were saying? And the cuts and stitches are like where he would chop himself apart or something. That could be something if we're speculating on that stuff.
Or when he died, he was in pieces, and the only way to put him back together was to
reassemble Joy.
To reassemble Joyful.
Reassemble Joyful.
Where's Dak? Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, the buggy potential, man. The buggy potential, you know.
Yeah.
People don't see it. It's.
I mean, that's
going over their head.
That's the subversion. The subversion is, here, look at this clown. He's such a goof, right? He can't do anything, right? Oh, wait. His fruit is actually so broken. Just wait.
It just takes one man to kick him into high gear, and now he's in. I love that trend with Luffy. I love that. he literally just gets the ball rolling on all these people who are like stuck on like a plateau, and they're just like, go, and then we'll just see what happens. Like, I felt this for a while. The Cross Guild would be nothing without Luffy, because Luffy inspired Mihawk with Zoro being on his crew. Luffy obviously defeated Crocodile, got him back into high gear as well, and Buggy, obviously. And then without Luffy again helping Buggy get out of Impel Down, helping Crocodile get out of Impel Down, and then obviously Mihawk was still after Zoro. But then in the time skip, which was after Marineford, like days after, Zoro's on Mihawk's island. Zoro's now getting trained by Mihawk. Like, these three are so fueled by Luffy, it's ridiculous. Like, without Luffy beating them, they probably would just be doing the same old, that they were always doing. Buggy's attacking these fodder towns that don't have any defenses whatsoever. Mihawk's just defeating, again, fodder, Don Krieg, and, sorry, Guinness fodder. And Crocodile, he would have probably ended up like Doflamingo, but would he be happy? Would he be achieving his dreams as the Pirate King, which we know that was his dream? No, he probably wouldn't be. He'd probably be some miserable Dufeld-esque individual. Oh my god. I don't know, I just find that really interesting. The way he changed all of them. And he changes a ton of people, obviously. Big Mom and Kaido as well.
Bellamy.
Fueling them to Bellamy, of course. Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Luffy definitely kicked Crocodile back into gear. I like the angle that Mihawk is even considering being part of a team because of Luffy and Zoro. I can see that. And Moria kind of seems like he has a little bit of his groove back. Like, he's more open to.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Move around the world. I'm Team Moria is going to be on Cross Guild with Perona, so.
That's fire.
Well, I mean, the Mihawk connection is there already, so.
True. Like her two adoptive dads. That's real found family there. That's real found family.
Yeah, but I always go back to the panel in Chapter 0 where you see
with all of them together.
Yeah, and it's all them in a row. It's Crocodile, Mihawk, Moria, and Dofi, and
Buggy,
and Buggy. Yeah, Buggy's there too.
I do think the Impel Down 2.0 it has so much potential, especially with, it's not just Doflamingo now, it's also Weevil, who's another warlord, obviously, and that's 2 more warlords that could possibly be in Cross Guild. There's even the idea that people think Law is going to Empty Bluffs with Beppo, and then that's going to be how Law even enters Cross Guild, which would just be
I've been saying that.
Super stacked. Yeah,
I've been one of the people that's been saying that. And it's also evidenced by, when you're reading, is that 1091 or something? When you're reading that in the volume, you're seeing Beppo leave with Law, and then the next page, you start the next chapter, and the first scene and the first thing that's being discussed in the following chapter is Sengoku, who already has a connection to Law, talking about the Cross Guild. And that, implying that he may be going to Empty Bluffs. So either Law is going to intersect with Sengoku on his way to Empty Bluffs, or Sengoku's going to arrive and go up against the Cross Guild, and Law is going to be there. But also,
crazy.
Law was gassing Buggy up when he became an emperor. He was just oh, this guy's got to be top tier if he's
a genius. He's a genius, bro.
If he's got these 2 working for him, and then Luffy's just no, he's an idiot. But Law didn't buy it. He's just no. This, exactly. He's drinking the Kool-Aid that Big News Morgan's is serving.
Drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah.
And the craziest thing, I say that I've said this before, but the thing I really need is Law to start a fight with Buggy, and think that he's a top tier because he can't hurt him with his ability.
Oh my god. Because he already can chop himself up. Why would he need... He doesn't even worry about getting chopped up. That's so... Yeah,
so
that's great.
I've wanted Law and Buggy to fight since I saw Law in chapter, 5, 6, 7, like, whatever. When they were fighting the Marines and he started chopping things up, I was like, this guy needs to meet Buggy, like, ASAP. And I just see it. He, like, starts slicing Buggy up, and then Buggy just puts himself back together, and Law, like, I just need, like, Law to have, like, an L face, and and just, like, pledges allegiance to Buggy right there. It's like, I can't
handle this.
I see why you're an emperor.
Not me, you. That's great.
Shout out to Maxo. Remember, for 35 months, said, "What's good, squad?" We're cooking some Buggy memes right here. Buggy theories. Sorry.
He's almost at 3 years too. Look at that.
Yeah,
almost at the 3-year landmark.
We got a few of those. Shout out to the squad. Playboy Johnny Carter, appreciate you, said, what if Buggy could separate an atom and create a new atomic Buggy Dama bomb? He would still be weak, but he could beat almost every non-top tier.
Oh my god. Imagine if Buggy does that. We call it a modern weapon, not an ancient weapon. Like, that would go so crazy. That would go so crazy. And then Emu gets a hold of this and is like, I need Buggy. Instead of I need Vivi, I need Buggy. I need the bombs. That would go so crazy. Oh my god.
Leonardo Martin said natural enemy. Yeah. Buggy is Law's natural enemy.
Yeah. And that could be multi-layered. Law's natural enemy and the law of nature, like devil fruits. I don't know. That's garbage, but whatever. That's literally garbage.
Keep workshopping that one.
Dude, I said that yesterday. Back to Meet the Grams. So, and I was like, Graham Cracker? Is Kendrick calling him a cracker? And I was like, oh god, no. Oh god, no. What's going on, bro? The theory brain, sometimes it gets too deep and you can't get out. Oh my god.
Let's see. The other thing is, like, I had the theory that, maybe like S-Croc, I still would prefer them to have Ivankov's Devil Fruit, but I still think it would be pretty crazy if they had Buggy's fruit. And then it's like, that's the way that Buggy sees the potential of his Devil Fruit, because he sees the way that the Seraphim is utilizing it, and how it already has an immediate, like, higher grasp than he ever had with his fruit.
That's so awesome. Because I've seen people, I think it was Magellan, because Croc had the poison hook. People were saying, like, oh, Magellan might be the fruit, because obviously Magellan, they have easy access to Impel Down, and Senor Pink, he's in Impel Down. That's how they got his fruit. Oh, that's crazy, though. I really like the Buggy idea, because that's like it'll fuel the fire, and we know S-Croc is going to Empty Bluffs as well. So yeah, that's sick. That's sick. I really like that.
Like, the Magellan thing would make S-Croc OP, and it's I did a video where it was like 5 different ones, and I talked about Magellan. Like, I think that it would be cool, but it would make that character, like, really hard to beat. Like, we're talking about a fruit that completely washed Blackbeard and his entire crew. So it's like, what would be more thematically relevant? And it's like, it's either Oda's going to clown the fan base with their, the theory about Ivankov, and then just give the Seraphim the fruit so that it can switch between genders, or it's going to be Buggy, and then it's just going to, like, infuriate Crocodile that his DNA has been, like intertwined with Buggy's. Because there's not going to be a Buggy Seraphim. There's just not.
I was thinking, so this is like, I literally looked it up. I had to mute for a sec to look it up. And I think the hormone thing could be interesting because it's not just like male and female. You could do like adrenaline and then say it goes like faster or it can like endure more stuff. Obviously the Seraphim can already do that with the flame on the back, you know, tech. But I don't know, like stuff like that. There's so much like variety within that as well. I think Oda could do some stuff Ivankov wouldn't do. Like the adrenaline stuff with I guess that's what Luffy was given, if we think about it like realistically. But I don't know, I think that could be really interesting. Like a self-inflicted version of that. Like and that would work really well. Because Ivankov was like, oh, you might die if I do this. And then, you know, obviously Luffy didn't care. But the Seraphim, not having a will of its own, probably wouldn't care. You know what I mean? They just stab themselves with it. Maybe they die. Maybe they don't die. And, you know, I don't know. That could be interesting, you know?
All I know is S-Croc has the potential to be, like, the most dangerous Seraphim. Because we don't know what the fruit is. Like, right up there with S-Hawk. And I was just thinking about it. You know, like, if it was a Buggy situation, Buggy's fruit, and then you see the way that it's being utilized, and there was a Bishna said Crocodile was the guy who was all about improving your devil fruit when he fought Luffy, but he takes one look at Buggy and is like, what are you doing, dude? And that's exactly like that's exactly the scene that I see in my head. And I think I talked about something like similar to that when I made the video about this idea. But what that just gave me was, I don't know how much time we would have in between things, but I would love it if Crocodile and Mihawk, like, just, you know, locked Buggy in the danger room real quick, you know, and was just like, okay, we just saw what this thing could do, so now we're you know, this is hyperbolic time chamber time. Do what that thing did, because we're not going to Laugh Tale until you know how to do what that did. Because what that thing did was crazy. And then we actually get, like, Buggy, like, knowing how to use his fruit when, like, Luffy goes up against him again or something.
And that's great because that's so in character. Buggy would probably be like, what's going on? And he's like, all his crew is like, oh, the Seraphim that's based on Buggy's the strongest one. That's Captain Buggy. You know, of course they would say something like that. But then Croc and Mihawk would give him the most intense glare ever. And it's just like, you are actually the worst. And then do exactly what you just did. Force him in that, like, dungeon room that they were in, where he's hooked against the wall. It's like, deal with it, whatever. That's great. No, that's great.
And then he just walks out of the hyperbolic time chamber like a full Chad. It's like it's the full, like, just Buggy Chad meme, and now he's just moving everything around him, and it's just he's finally achieved what everybody.
You know, I see a vision. Right? So you know how Buggy's, like, post time skip look has been the full of hot air blanket look, you know what I mean? Which is great.
I think
love that to death.
Keep cooking.
Oh, so hear me out. Buggy, when he develops his powers, he no longer needs the bag of hot air because he truly is that guy, and he starts wearing that like a cape, like a king. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking. What were you thinking though?
I thought he was going to start filling that space with, like, either weapons or the ground, and, like, creating like actual like kind of almost elongating his body in a way with, like, different materials. Like, he splits, but, like, in between each chopped leg is, like, a part of a building or something, and now he is like,
god. And that's like that one cover story with Buggy with there was, like, blocks in him and stuff. I don't know if you remember that. Oh, I gotta find that. Hold on. It was in
it was
Wano, I think.
Yeah, it was something like it kind of reminded me of what happened in the 3D2Y special with the cube guy. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Oh wait.
There was, like,
oh no.
They really took advantage of, like, 3D technology of the time and had a Buggy fight a character that was like kind of similar to him and was able to cube himself or turn other people into cubes.
I'll definitely have to look into that. But here, I can't find the exact cover story, but I found art of it. And it's literally Buggy attaching stuff that's not from his body into his body. And you see there's like blocks and different shapes and whatever. That's crazy. That's really interesting. So you might be cooking with that one.
I mean, it's kind of in the same vein of like Reassembled Joy Boy in a way, because it's just, if he has, full control of all of these items, he's kind of turning himself into this, mech version of himself. And like, his punches would be stronger because he'd be having the power of whatever material he has in between each of his cuts.
Yeah. It's kind of like the docking 6. It's like Buggy is literally putting stuff onto himself to make like a stronger thing. Oh, that's sick. That is sick.
And at that point, like, he wouldn't even necessarily need magnetism or anything like that, but if it was metal, so it'd be like, you would take his fist off, hunk of metal here, then connect like this, his forearm to the metal, break it apart, another piece of metal, connect his arm, and then it's just he's just naturally gonna have just a way more force than he had without having to be strong.
Yeah. and it wouldn't be heavy at all because he could just take it off and like shoot it like Metal Gear Solid. He just shoots the arm out. That's crazy. Yeah.
Shout out to Brandon King. Thinks that S-Bat will have the art fruit, gothic art / Tim Burton. So like Jolas fruit.
Ooh, that's sick. That's
a fruit that I think was underutilized. So I would actually love seeing that fruit come back, because I feel like Oda, there's so much that Oda could do with that. It's also why I wanted Usopp, or the Kabuto to eat the ink fruit, so that we could just have Oda, like do crazy things. I'm curious as to what S-Bat is going to have also, because the layup is, okay, they're just going to have the Kage, right? But I still don't understand how they were able to get some characters' DNA. Like, I still am so confused that S-Snake has Hancock's fruit. Like, at what point did they get her DNA? And it's like, okay, well, she was a slave, but I mean, why? Like, why were there experiments back then? I need an explanation. Like, did they send some sort of needle around to these people that just sort of got their DNA secretly? Am I thinking about this too much? Did they go and have, did Vegapunk go and analyze the entire, battlefield of Marineford and was like, oh, I found some blood from Hancock, I found some blood from Doflamingo? Because it's like, some of these people aren't in Impel Down and never were in Impel Down. So it's I understand how you got Da's bones. Like, maybe you took his DNA when he was in Impel Down. I understand how you got Senor Pink. He is currently in Impel Down. But how you would get Moria's fruit or Hancock's fruit is, I don't understand. But Doflamingo is there now, so when we see S Flamingo, like, he's totally gonna have the Ito no Mi. But Moria has been missing. So does that mean that S-Bat will have a different fruit because they couldn't get his DNA? Or will it just have the shadow fruit and Oda's just never going to address it?
See, that's really interesting, because I thought it had something to do with them being a warlord in the first place. Like, maybe because they were a warlord, they had to give up some DNA or something, because they're pretty much they have access to all this stuff, and they have the freedom to do whatever. But they have to do something first, taking care of the government, maybe that's what they had to do. Like one of the, because I don't think that's too out of line. It's like you're working for the government. We need your DNA. It's like when you get your fingerprints for like when you just work in the U.S. You need to put your fingerprints on. So maybe something like that.
That's the easiest.
True.
That's the easiest way to go about it. But at that point, then that would mean that they would have the Opie no Mi.
Oh, true. And then, because that's all Emu wants, apparently, because of the immortality. Why would they want that to get out to anyone else? And if that's the case, why not just use that for everything? As simple as that.
Yeah, and also, I feel like the importance of the Opie no Mi is something that's kind of fallen away in the story. We haven't
because it was set up to be like endgame, super endgame, obviously, and now Law isn't even in the game at this point. He's currently struggling for his life, so we're just waiting for that to come back to the fold. He in my opinion, he absolutely is going to be like important to the end game. Whether it's giving someone the operation, which I think might be the case, or him at least attempting to, for like self-sacrifice, that will obviously hit. People love Law. I think he was in the top 5 for the last poll as well. He was like number 2 in the one before that.
Like the end of a Marvel movie, Law will return.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Luffy's Captain America and Law's Tony Stark. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Oh my god. I do like the Hancock slave idea though. That's interesting. But then, like you say, why were they doing this? How long have they been thinking of this idea? How long have they been thinking about it?
Because here's the thing, like, Hancock was a slave when, between, like, 19 years ago. She literally became a slave the same year that Luffy was born. And then was rescued when Luffy was 4 years old. So, the Seraphim project, in my mind, has not been operating for that long. Because the Seraphim project, I think, is a response to the Pacifista project, which we already know.
Yeah, because they're PX something, yeah.
Yeah, which we already know was happening 2 years ago. Judge's clones took 5 years to mature. So I think the reason why, the Seraphim are kids is because it probably follows the same meta, and it's just... Had they cooked a little bit longer, they would have been adult clones, but they were pulled from the process early, so that's why they're kids. And they've only been cooking for probably, a year and a half, 2 years, max. And at that point, it's just like that's where I just need Oda to kind of clarify that, because Hancock was a recluse. Kind of like it's the same situation with Moria. When that chapter came out and Snake was able to use that fruit, I was just like, but how? And that's why I was just like, okay, well, now I understand why Blackbeard's here, because he wanted the Mero no Mi, so it has to have something to do with this, because Vegapunk was able to recreate it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maxo. Appreciate the 10, who said, do we think you can awaken green blood abilities? I always looked at awakening as using Haki to conquer the devil fruit itself. Savage. It's cool. Maybe that's what prevents them from having the immortality surgery.
I like the Haki conquers devil fruit. That's cool. I like that.
I like the idea that the Seraphim can't awaken. That it's kind of like the downside of having a smile. Something like that. And because otherwise it's like, okay, you're recreating the devil fruits, you're giving them to clones, they could be completely overpowered. You have to find some way to balance it. But So if they can't awaken, but then then we need to understand the science and the particulars around, what is awakening anyway.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Maxo's trying to figure out here by saying, that you need Haki as well. But if it is Haki related and the Seraphim can learn Haki, then they'd be able to awaken. I don't know. I'd like them to just have some sort of a downside. So I like the idea of having that. We don't know enough about. We need a Nen explanation of all of this science.
We get the whole chart, and it's just like, actually, here's how devil fruits actually work, and it's just like, 1,000 chapters deep instead of what was it, like less than 100? Maybe even 50.
I need Wing to just walk in to One Piece and just be like, okay, so this is how the science of all of this works.
Yeah, he's like pointing at a blackboard. He's like, all right, so this is it. He's like, Vegapunk, you're an idiot. Here you go.
Yeah.
And what's it called?
But I also, sidebar, I need Kendrick to put out a diss against Wing, because why is that man inviting like 10-year-old boys into his apartment?
That is weird. And Zushi, we don't know what's up with that.
We don't know what's up with that. We don't know. I think Wing needs to be on a list. I'm just saying.
Yeah, OVO Wing, man. OVO Wing. You know what owls have? 2 of them.
This man had 3 10-year-old boys in his apartment alone.
Yeah. What is it though? Oh god. Oh god, the Wing is completely destroyed my train of thought. No. Oh, what was it before? No. Then Haki, devil fruits, that was it.
Right.
So I like the idea of that, because Haki, obviously, it means will, and the Seraphims literally don't have seemingly a will of their own. They have like the little quirks, with Hancock being all lovey-dovey towards Luffy still, even when she's a kid. So there's some like remnant of who they were, which is really interesting to me. I really, really find that probably the most interesting thing about the Seraphim is like they like retain some sort of memory, not like memory, but like, some kind of connection to who they were, obviously. But they literally don't have a will to do anything. They're specifically meant to be controlled with the chip, right? So maybe that's why they can't awaken, because they have no literal will, so they wouldn't have Haki, because again, Haki means will. Maybe that has something to do with it. And I really like the Haki devil fruit thing, especially with Zoans, because Zoans, we know they have a will of their own, and if you're able to kind of tame the beast or whatever, to make it seem more epic, that could be a way of explaining that really easily.
I'm thinking Oda's gonna go the like Dragon Ball Z android route with the Seraphim. So okay. I think it's a thing where they're not necessarily on our side now, but then at the end of the story, if they're not destroyed, it's gonna be a thing where like, okay, so what do we do with these guys? And then they just kind of like go off and live on their own in the wild and start a nature reserve.
Yeah, they're the as weird as it is, obviously, to think about, like that they are the resurgence of this entire race that, besides King, doesn't even exist anymore. So they're definitely gonna be around at the end of the story, and I do like the redemption idea a lot, because it kind of reminds me of characters like Sanji, Bonnie, who are like these really, really downtrodden, these kids should not exist situation, I guess. But they're like, no, they're allowed to live. I like that a lot. Yeah, I guess Robin's another example of that, obviously.
As long as Oda doesn't have like S Snake end up with some version of Krillin in this story at the end.
Oh my god!
Like let's stay away from that. Double O Flevance, appreciate the 5, said 2 goats cooking up, love to see it. Also, Drake might be the man marked by flames with how Kendrick is frying him.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, Dizza said Kendrick's out here playing Heat on Feet.
Heat on Feet? He's playing Heat on Feet? And he's
It's
the big step.
spicy!
Yeah. He's putting out Ifrit John Bay on the next track. We don't even know.
Yeah, this is for Kate. This is for Kenny.
Someone cooked here.
Perpetual Punster said Nami pulls a Mother Carmel, takes in all the Seraphim, little Seraphim orphanage.
That goes back to to one of your masterclass Nami for Mommy. One of your masterclass ideas. We're waiting. We are waiting for this.
She's gonna go back. She's gonna go. She's gonna adopt Hama.
And you know what? Screw it. Toko as well. Screw it. Mocha, get all the kids in, bring them in, give them a good mom. That's all they need. All I need. Because what else is Nami's story like? That sounds like hate. Not what else is Nami's story leading to, but like that is, in my opinion, like that has to be where that's going. It has to be. Like her whole story is about the found family. She has all these arcs about how she cares about kids so much. It's like, bro, that's the ultimate way to like not wrap. I guess it's not wrapping up her character, but like, you know, I feel like that's what her purpose in the world is. You know, to take care of people.
So
know?
in that regard, whoever in One Piece has the biggest stepdad energy is who's going to end up with Nami.
The dad who stepped up. Well, I guess that's Kuma, but unfortunately, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's already got, his precious little girl,
Well, not only that, and he's not making it out of Egghead.
Poor Wano.
I think Saturn, when Saturn hit Kuma, like he seeped a bunch of poison into him. So I think I think Kuma's got like one more thing to do, and then he's gonna like lay it out for us. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm done. I've already, or someone's going to look inside that hole that Saturn put, and it's just like, oh yeah, there's no coming back from this.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what it would be, like an engine or something that's like broken or some crap like that. You know what I mean? Some science fiction stuff they'll explain. I think if they got to do. Oh, here's what they got to do. You remember Bon Clay's speech to Luffy after leaving Impel Down? They're gonna do something really similar with that with Kuma, and like Kuma's the reason they get out of there. And then he gives this speech. Oh, that would hit so hard. That would hit so hard. It's like his final message or something, and then he dies.
I think there could be something like that, but it won't be Kuma. Kuma will ride away with them, and Kuma will be the Mary. So it's going to be a situation where they like do a Viking funeral for Kuma. That's the way I see it. They send him out to sea. They sort of like Kuma's going to get like a proper funeral. That man has been he has been through way too much, and that may happen at or on Elbaf, but it's gonna happen. And Kuma's got to go with them also because his fruit has to end up on the tangerine tree or something, or in Sanji's kitchen.
Yeah. I remember you mentioning the tangerine tree. I really like that idea because it would add like a fun little. Not purpose, but that would be a great way of easily writing it in, and you don't even think about it.
Well, people have been wanting that for years. Like when Punk Hazard was happening weekly, everybody was like, "Oh, Monet's fruit is going to end up on the tangerine tree," and everyone was just like, "Oh man, like Nami's gonna get the snow fruit," and then people have been talking about that for ever. They were like, "Oh, the carrots on the ship. Maybe Monet's fruit is still there, and there's gonna be a snow bunny." Like there's so many theories about that. Like everybody, I don't know. There's just way too much stuff about Monet's fruit on the tangerine tree. But it's so much more thematically relevant to have Kuma's fruit be something that the crew can utilize. Because Blackbeard can fast travel and we cannot.
True. And what I've been thinking for Kuma's fruit, they just slap the Sunny. You don't even need the coup to burst anymore. Just like it's like when you when ships would like go out to journey for the first time, they would always get hit by like a bottle, and that would be what sends them on their way. And that's just Kuma. You just slap the back of the ship, and then now you're just going.
Yep.
That'd be super cool. Yeah, I do.
Maxo
really like the. Oh, you know.
No, I was just to say Maxo is like Oda's gonna be like, oops, I forgot. Here's Monet and Impel down for some reason. Do not do that, Oda.
I don't know what's gonna happen with Monet.
Do not. What were you saying, Kev? I'm sorry.
That's all good. I was thinking for like the fruit growing on the tree. Of course, that would also be the confirmation Kuma is dead. Finally, you know, we get that reveal, and it would be like sad almost to see the fruit grow on the tree. It would be like a weird blend of hype and really sad at the exact same time. And I don't know. I think Oda's also really good at that, like the mixed emotions of a scene. It's just like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll have the same impact of tell her I wish her a happy 10th birthday.
Oh my God.
It'll just be like the man dying all over again. Flondimon, switching topics, said thoughts on Usopp's achievements in Elbaf.
Some more goat talk right here. From Buggy to Kuma to Usopp. Oh my God. What a trio. What a trio, you know? I was really on the ball with the hammer idea. You know, that you've probably heard that a bajillion times. You know,
Mjolnir.
the Mjolnir idea, right? But the way I kind of like viewed it in my brain is that Kid is gonna try and get Mjolnir because Kid obviously has magnet powers. You know what I mean? It's like, and it would be like
please give me a moment where he can't pick it up.
He can't pick it up, right?
You are not worthy. More Kid slander.
He's not worthy. Yeah. So, and this is gonna be why, because it's gonna be like a sword and a stone thing, in my opinion. It's gonna be like you're not worthy, you know. But here's the thing, Usopp is gonna be worthy. Of course he's gonna be worthy, of course. And what I'm thinking would be really cool is that, let's speculate here. The Adam tree is the tree on Elbaf. Let's just speculate that first and foremost. But whatever the tree is, it's probably important, right? Because it's like one of the main things about Elbaf we know is like this big, massive tree. What if the hammer is like grown into the tree and they don't even realize almost, but they like see it, right? No, Kid realizes, the people all know, it's like this legend, right? Usopp, being an absolute moron, just accidentally falls into the tree. He trips over a branch of the tree, and the hammer just falls out of it, like, immediately. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's perfect. It's so stupid, but it's just like, yes.
No, as you were saying it, I was already on the same wavelength, and I was just like, it's got to be an accident. It's got to be something silly. It's got to be something he wasn't trying to do, and then it's just, you know, it's got to have the same energy as Hajrudin, like just picking him up and saying, "This is God Usopp."
God Usopp, yeah.
And the way everybody fawns onto Buggy and everything, then all of the giants are just like, God Usopp, God Usopp. You know, we need Hajrudin there to really, you know, just talk.
He's back. He's back. Like something like that. He's gonna be like, my people, this is my savior, and it's
this
just
is the
like
one I was telling you about.
Yeah, and he pulled Mjolnir from the Great Adam Tree or some stuff like that. Like, that's so funny.
And he even knows Dory and Brogy.
Yeah, he didn't know them. He saved them, he saved Oimo and Kashi as well. He's bringing everyone back. Oh my God. Because it's got to be that after Usopp directly saw them and was like, all right. It was weird that he called them his masters. That I feel like that was out of the blue. That was kind of strange. But he could have, you know, he sees them. He's like, not just those two, but the other two. And Hajrudin isn't here, but he'll be in Elbaf. Like, there's no chance he's not. So yeah, I'm so excited for that. So excited. Especially, it was really cool seeing him in Vegapunk's flashback on Ohara. I was like, oh shit, Hajrudin's here too. He helped with this whole scheme with Saul, it's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, and got one-shotted by Luffy in the Kurita Coliseum.
Damn, man. Damn.
But
that's my goat, bro. That's my goat.
I love Hajrudin.
Yeah.
I have a shelf with just like Dressrosa figures on it, and it was not complete until I finally got a Hajrudin.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wanna know more about what Hajrudin knows, because it's kind of crazy that this man was just a Dressrosa with us, but like he protected these books.
Yeah, it's just like he's got to be involved with Saul somehow, And it's really interesting now that I'm thinking about it. Throughout all of Dressrosa, him and Robin have never interacted. I'm fairly certain they've never talked. They never did anything. Maybe he didn't even notice she was there. But that would have been probably a crazy conversation. Like, that could have been an illusion. Like, oh, you're that girl that Saul talks about all the time. Like, that would have gone crazy. That's just like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they were in the same place because Robin was there.
They were at the party, yeah.
Robin was there for Sun's Cups, so
yeah.
That's when it could have happened. That's when it should have happened. But Oda wanted to wait until we got to Vegapunk and all that to reveal that Saul was alive. Because honestly, like, if we found out that Saul was alive that soon, we'd all be like, "When are we gonna see Saul? When are we gonna see Saul?" Okay,
and then I'll be like,
right
a
now.
decade.
That's just like every conversation would be about it, and it's like we learned about it because
Elbaf?
The next thing is going to have to deal with Saul. So
yeah, and people obviously were speculating he was the man marked by flames. I still feel that he's both. He's obviously himself, but I think he's both. I don't know. I feel like that convo's really died down, which is cool because it was that clones, and then it was the traitor. It was just like there were so many like very specific conversations at like times. It was great. Oh my god! Or was clones after the traitor, or were they like the same? I don't know. Because clones was like Bakken is Stussy, so that was what, like 1070. I think
it was
like around there.
That was early in Egghead.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Was clones? No, the traitor was the traitor after that then.
The traitor was revealed right before we started moving around and going to Hachinosu and all of that. So that was like 1079, I think.
Okay, so was after, and then it was peak. We don't even need. Yeah.
Stussy being revealed as a clone, I feel like that was 1072.
Okay.
1073, like, and then we had 1066 was the Ohara stuff Saul reveal.
This arc is so crazy. Like I don't know. It's I feel like so many people had Wano fatigue because of how much Wano was built up. For like what, a decade plus maybe. Cause Thriller Bark, and I don't know. I feel like I'm worried about Elbaf haters because I feel I am very confident Elbaf will be great. I'm very confident, It seemed to be, it was always going to be an Usopp arc. Now it seems to be a Robin arc. And I'm like, okay, where could this go wrong? It seems impossible for me, with my favorite characters being right in the spotlight again.
I think the same people that don't like Skypiea are not going to like Elbaf.
Okay. You think there's going to be a lot of ties to that? With the sun god being talked about?
I think everything that Oda is building towards and everything into the end game of the story and all of that is everything that we saw like in Skypiea and in the early parts of One Piece. It's all going to be coming back around. It's going to reward everybody that's paying attention, and there'll be fighting and everything, but there's going to be a lot of Norse mythology. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to need a Wikipedia or a YouTuber to understand, and some people are, that might upset them. We're going to get probably something equivalent to the Nolan and Calgara flashback with none of our main heroes and everything, and it may go for many chapters, and we're going to be learning about characters that are important to the Void history, or things like, stuff that really ties everything together, and there's just going to be people that are like, I just want to see Luffy punch somebody.
Yeah. You know who I could easily see that flashback being of? Yorl and Jarl, the two elder giants that were with Big Mom. I could easily see that being there, because they were like the Dory Brogy before them, and it's like they're probably so old they saw it happen. Like, you know what I mean?
What we need with that is we need Yorl and Jarl. We need whoever Dorian Brogy's parents are, and something that maybe ties the ancient robot.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
As the ancient robot, they would have been alive for that.
Yeah. There's even the possibility they made it. They might have made the giant robot, because, obviously they're giants. And, giants in Norse mythology has a lot of, like, forge elements in it, with, like, Thor's hammer and all the weapons and stuff. And I forget what they're called, but it's, like, a specific, like, race that would make all the stuff for, like, the gods and whatever. Maybe there's going to be something like that, something. That'd be really interesting. Really interesting. Yeah, Elbaf, so much hype.
And then
so much hype. Dwarves.
We'll probably also meet, like, Dorian Brogy's grandparents in the Void history. Because if you just, if you just go, it would literally just, how long they live, it would just be their grandparents.
Their grandparents,
that would be in the Void history. So, yeah, that's an interesting idea. It'll, having something that is Giants focused, like just a Giants flashback hundreds of years ago. And some people in the community will probably call it boring, but it'll be amazing for anybody that's a theorist and like, it really lives this.
Yeah, we're like the lore. Like, we see Zunisha and it's small. Imagine, like, we see like a small Zunisha or something, like, Alabasta is green. Like, just imagine all these little things. The Emerald City. Yeah, I do actually want to hop on the one thing. It was Will of Dreams said dwarves. Aren't the Tontatas dwarves? Are they like dwarves? Or so that would be interesting, because obviously they knew Noland, which would kind of connect this, not literally to Noland's, but it'll be like, hey, look, guys, this is a Noland-esque thing that's happening right now. And apparently the dwarves are who made all the weapons and stuff for the Norse mythology, like gods and stuff. What if... Okay, this might sound dumb, but I'm kind of liking it now. What if the Tontatas helped the Giants make the ancient robot? That would be crazy. And that would be... Maybe that's why the Don Quixote King was so angry at them. Maybe that's why, because they were doing something that was against, like, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I kind of see that.
There's some ingredients.
The cogs are turning, but it's like Patrick when his brain just turned on. It's like, we'll see what happens.
I saw some people in the chat asking if we think that Noland went to Elbaf or has anything to do with Elbaf, and I actually have a take on that. I don't want Noland to have gone to Elbaf. I actually love the idea that when Noland gets back to Livneal and he's like telling everybody about his stories, he's telling them about the Tontata. He's saying that there were dwarves, right? Because at the end of the story, I would love if we see Usopp and he's back at Sierra Village and he's telling the kids about giants. So it's this inversion thing of, like, Noland talked about, the dwarves, and Usopp talks about the giants. And I feel like that would be, like a good parallel.
Oh, definitely. And his stuff would be true. That's the best part. And obviously Noland's was too. But, like, in the world view, it would be this epic legend.
Usopp the truth teller. Usopp the truth teller. Usopp the straight shooter.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, that's better than like some bum with Chaser as their nickname. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Savage.
Mm.
Dear Usopp, sorry, that man is your father.
Sorry, I left your mom to die in bed. Like what? Oh my god. Yeah, the hype of Elbaf, man. I can't wait, and not just the hype. Like you said, the lore. I can't wait to bawl my eyes out when Robin reunites with Saul. I'm just like, I know it'll happen. It's just like one of those. Yeah, just let me Oda, and I'll play Marvin Sapp. You know, I'll play some Marvin Sapp in the background. I'll be having a great time. Man. What?
Chrissy's dying.
Usopp, I'm sorry your dad's a pet. Yeah. Wait, Elbaf, like, when do you think Egghead will end? Because I made a joke earlier in the year about Vegapunk's message, and I was like, we'll find out the message in June. Now, it is just about to be May, and we did get the message, you know? Well, I mean, it is May. May just started. And we did get the message. But now we got a lot of breaks coming up, so do you think the message is continuing in the next chapter, I assume?
I would hope so. Like I would think that's what we're getting. But you know, I'm a broken record with this. I don't want him to reveal the name of the ancient kingdom. I that should be something reserved for Robin. A lot of this should be reserved for Robin. So it's like whatever Vegapunk wants to tell us, Robin has to tell us something even more important.
So, do you think the message is going to get cut off? Like, because obviously they're referring to Clover constantly in this arc, and they're referring to Ohara as well. And he's like, he's trying to make it not Clover or whatever. Because I'm speculating that, so the triangulated signal thing from Sabo's, when he was at Lucia, right? We know that a triangulated signal is a thing that you can do in One Piece. Because they thought he was on Lucia. He actually was on the ship, but the signal was just transmitted from somewhere else. So I'm thinking, because obviously we now know that the signal is not coming from Egghead, at least in the room. Joy Boy theories and me, you know, we both had like our brains, like the mind rope literally happened, and he thinks it's on Kamabaka where the signal's coming from, but I think it's on Ohara where the signal's coming from, because we know that Vegapunk obviously was there, and Dragon obviously was there, and it could be on Kamabaka. That would make a lot of sense as well, in my opinion. But I don't know, I think it would be very poetic if the signal for where all this is coming from is from the place that the world government decided, oh yeah, it's destroyed enough already. We don't need to, you know, wipe it out. And then that's the reason for their undoing in this moment. I think that would be really great. Really great.
Yeah, Dak and I talked about that a little bit on the last theory, and I love the idea that it's coming from Ohara, because it's just like, okay, they're not looking there because they think that no one would go there, and it's just this blind spot to them. And that seems like the perfect place to do it. But who would be there in the West Blue to manage that? You know, that's the thing. I feel like it makes more sense that it would be coming from Kamabaka, you know, in the way that Dragon is, you know, seems to be involved, in the way that he, you know, the conversation he had with Shaka, etc. But if it's something that is, you know, unmanned, then yes, please put it at Ohara, because it has so many, it just way more thematic
layers.
Yeah, way more thematic layers to have it being broadcasted from Ohara. But I really love the idea that you're tying it back to what Sabo did, because I wasn't actually thinking about that, and Oda was basically just already telling us, yeah, you can send signals other places from other things. So yeah, you know, we've all been talking about where the signal could be bounced from, but not many of us were remembering that we already had chapters.
We already know.
Where signals are being bounced.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part. It's like, look, Oda just laid it out, bro. He laid it out. It's like, and then I'm gonna be honest. When York literally said, "Oh, it looks like this," and I'm like, "Oh, like a triangle, like a triangulated signal." Like I don't know. For me, it was like that. That just was like the nail in the coffin. I'm like, all right, it's not here. That's confirmed for me. But where is it gonna be? Is it gonna be you know, Kambaka or Ohara? I'm just like, I'm waiting. And if I see a big hole in the middle of an island, I'm like, I'm up. I'm up, you know? I would just be so happy with that reveal, obviously. Because with how relevant Ohara is going to be in this arc and Elbaf, you know, I feel like that would be perfect.
Yeah. No, that I definitely would love to see. And Dragon, he's just got to be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if he's not involved in this, after Vegapunk called him to tell him, all right, so I think I'm gonna die. He's got to do something.
Yeah, least, I need the other half of that conversation was, let's commence the plan.
Yeah, and like you said, if it's an unmanned thing, it might be. What I'm saying, and this is also leading off that. I think it's on Ohara, but it's a hologram, so it's invisible. So it's on Ohara, but it's invisible. That was my other part, where I'm like, this is because the hologram is also so important.
Who's the West commander? Because if it's Morley, then like it could be hidden underground, and it could have been something that Morley helped put together.
I think it is actually. Hold on.
Let's see. West Blue.
It is Morley. Oh, dude, this is crazy. This is crazy because it's crazy that it's Morley. It's crazy because my entire idea of like, okay, the Revs, let's say they get to Egghead, it has to be Morley. There's no chance that it's not for me because it's like all the ships are surrounding them. There's no way for them to get in undetected. And it reminded me of like Marineford because let's say this is a massive clash with the Yonko and the world government. And then someone has to swoop in to do something crazy. And how did Whitebeard get in? Under the sea. How could Morley get in? Digging under the ocean, popping up through the middle like a...
Have we seen Morley? Is he there?
No.
Is he...
Let me see.
Wait.
I think he is there. I think he is there. Let me check.
Hold on, I gotta see. Because if he's not there, and then we find out he's in the West Blue, like, doing this... Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What chapter was the last one Dragon showed up? Because I don't think he was in the last chapter. Was he in?
Let's see here.
Like now, we're just deep dive. We could also look at the. I have the chat and the chapters open at the same time. Let's just see. I'm checking if.
I'm on Viz scanning through the. I'm trying to remember which one was the one where we went to the decks of the world about the message.
It's not
1109.
That's 112. I'm checking 1111. I don't think that's it though. No, this is the baseball
he's
one.
there. He's at Kamabaka. We specifically see him in 1109.
Tragic.
Yeah.
No, but the Morley popping up through the ground, it's right there. It's right there, man. And that's also why I was like, okay, Morley, you know what else Morley is? A giant. And that could easily lead to Elbaf, you know? And maybe the Revs have a connection to Elbaf through Morley or something. You know. And obviously we don't know if Morley's from Elbaf. We don't know if he is. Because we know Saul isn't from Elbaf. We know giants don't have to be from Elbaf.
Yeah, it's also like, what is Morley anyway? Like, is he a buccaneer? Like, why is he so much bigger than everybody else?
I thought he was a giant. I thought he was at least.
I thought so too, but I mean, like, Oda's so bad at the scaling between, everybody that it's just like, I don't know. But I think that there's still like a possibility for Morley to have been involved with that and, hit a secret lab underneath Ohara.
Underneath is sick.
Yeah, that's where I was going the entire time because of Morley's ability.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, is Morley the West Blue Commander? Because if that's his territory, then he could have been like making this happen for a while.
Okay. Because that's why I thought of the whole hologram thing. I'm like, let's say it's because I thought it would just be on the island, you know? Because we know it's still there. There's just a big hole in it. No, that's crazy. That's crazy. The tunnel idea is cool.
And Gaimon Goated said, "Isn't Morley a woman?" I'm sorry if I'm messing up Morley's pronouns.
Checking the One Piece wiki and somehow Fallout is the top search. Coincidence? I don't know.
Like the game and the show?
Yeah, like the show. I was like, coincidence? Maybe. Let me peep. Morley is a she. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I did not know that either. I'm gonna be honest. Let me see. All right, but my God. What is it?
No, I was just apologizing to anybody I offended. But I think that's a pretty strong idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Ohara, connection, Maybe it's just because I love Robin so much and I really want this to connect to Robin more and have more layers and stuff. And I'm like, come on, guys. Come on. We're saying, because I've seen so many posts like most useless Straw Hat. And I'm like, be for real right now. First, there's none. There's no useless Straw Hat. And second, that's just crazy. Like, she could just no diff anyone if she wanted to, but Oda just doesn't write fights like that because it's boring.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But, that's the thing, though, is I need more. I need more from Robin. And I am a little disappointed with Oda's portrayal of Robin following Eni's lobby. Has she had moments? Absolutely. But she has never been as important as she was at that time. And it's like, now that we're getting into all of this ancient kingdom talk, going back to Ohara, it feels like we're trying to make Robin more relevant, and I'm glad that the Gorosei are, finally targeting her. And there's always like lines here and there, but Oda's never giving Robin the moments that I'm looking for. 1066 was probably the closest. And, she finally got some focus in like 1020, with her first fight in 16 years. So she is a character that is sidelined because I do feel like Oda doesn't know what to do with her because she's so OP. She could take out anybody by just snapping their neck or whatever. But also, he's so careful to not give away too many hints that I think he doesn't use Robin in fear that she will give us too much ammo to figure out what things are. And that hurts her movement in the story as a character. Because she just kind of stands there and is just like, yeah, I could say stuff, but I'm not going to. And it's time for the story to have Robin start talking.
Yeah. Like, even as much as Luffy's like, nah, I'm good. Like, Luffy, you're good. Is everyone else good? The world's ending, bro. Like, in the most genuine way, you probably should know what's going on,
Yeah.
Like, Crocodile and Mihawk are gonna tell Buggy, hey, this is what's going on. And Law, obviously, would have told Luffy, hey, this is what's going on. But Robin's more like, it's fine.
Well, that's a whole other issue. Law taking away a lot of Robin's things to do while he was, riding with the crew. And, if she was intended to be the exposition character on the ship, Law stole that from her. So I have, I'm a little salty on a lot of different things with Robin's portrayal, and that's also why I'm salty about Vegapunk doing the message when I feel like it should be Robin. if she is the most dangerous woman in the world, if she is the only person who can read the poneglyphs, and then, in the past 2 years, you've given us 2 characters that, one that can read the poneglyphs but doesn't care about the government, and then another person that we don't know, but maybe can, because they've been researching everything from Ohara and read all of the books, and the books may teach you how to read the language. So Vegapunk might be able to read the poneglyphs. So it's kind of nerfing Robin, and that's where I want Oda to show us why she's important, and this is the time to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I will say, like, in terms of her, I don't think you're in One Piece for the fights. I know I'm not in One Piece for the fights. We're here for the spicy lore and the great character development and stuff like that. But I'm curious how you feel about this, right? Because as I've continued to ruminate on the story a lot of the time, it's like so many people get mad, like, oh, Usopp didn't get a fight in Wano. He sucks. He's terrible.
Sanji
or
didn't
Rob
fight
didn't get a
whole cake.
Yeah, like
that was
even though his fight
that was what
like,
was happening back then.
The whole arc was his fight. The whole arc was his fight.
His fight was here. His fight was here.
Yeah, exactly. But like I don't know. And with you obviously loving Alabasta, I'm curious what you think about this. But like, Robin easily could have fought Diamante. She easily could have, easily. But I feel like her defending the princess, and I really like that. I thought that was cool because it was like a full look how far she's come moment in the story for me, and I'm like, I liked it.
Here's my thing with that is,
okay,
I love that Kyros fought Diamante. Like that's one of my favorite fights in the entire series, and Kyros is a goat. Like he needed that fight. He needed to kill that man for what he did to his wife. Now, Robin, hot take, should have beat Gladius, and Barto should not have done that.
Okay.
So, giving Barto, this character that you just introduced, an entire fight instead of your Straw Hat is crazy. Her protecting Rebecca was cool, but in place of not
it could
having
have been both.
It could have been both. It really could have been. And, even if Barto was helping, but it's like, that is exactly the type of fight that if I'm Oda, right, and I want to write myself into a corner that I have to, build myself out of, Gladius is the perfect opponent for Robin. Because if you have a character that can only, you're worried about them beating someone too fast because they'll just snap somebody's neck, give them a character that you can't touch. So then she has to use her brain to, kind of figure out a way around that. Because he would be, popping the limbs or something like that, or, she would have to find some way to distract him. It would become a cerebral fight. It's like I would have loved for Robin to have that fight. I would have loved, a scenario for Robin to fight against someone like Mont d'Or. It's like now she's trapped in this book world or something, and her powers she's not even
kind of useless.
Yeah, she's not even in the real world at this point. So it's like, this is how you utilize a character that's too OP strength wise. You find other ways to do it. You have her fight someone like Daifuku, right? But then the brain thing is I'm gonna take my hands, right, and I'm gonna cover the hole where the genie comes out, and then now I can just start boxing this dude. Because
here's the other thing. What if she rubs it and the genie works for her and not him? Something that could have worked as well. I don't know. That's cool. I never thought about the Daifuku one, but the Mont d'Or one, that's elite. Because Mont d'Or, I feel like he's severely slept on as being his stone fruit was so cool. It's we were talking about Jola's fruit earlier. These fruits that change the art style, do a bunch of weird stuff. It's this is awesome. It shows how the world is literally, because obviously One Piece is a cartoon, but even the cartoon is looking weird, and that's I think like really cool. And Oda, whenever he does that, I'm like yeah, whenever he, like changes the art style for something weird or fun, I always love stuff like that. And
Mr. Nine in the chat said Robin versus Galette. I mean, that's cool. She's slipping all over Galette's butter. Like there's so many things to do. Like these are the kind of conversations that I was having before Marco kicked the Big Mama chanter off the waterfall, because it was like, oh wait, big
a lot of characters to fight.
They're gonna get involved in this war. So, and then I was just like, I started like giving the Straw Hats like fights against some of the Big Mom pirates. I was just like, okay, I want Usopp versus Flampe. I want Robin versus Mondor. You know, like, and or maybe Daifuku. Like, there's so many opportunities for these things to happen, and we didn't get it. I mean, like, I'm dusting off the salt shaker here, but it's just there are ways to utilize this character, and I feel like a little burnt when it comes to Robin.
The Cerebral Fright ideas, so it's just it reminds me of Yu Yu Hakusho. They had a bunch of like weird cerebral fights where it's like they aren't even fighting. It's like a puzzle, and I don't know, stuff like that's really cool.
Love that stuff, man. Love that.
Yeah.
Write yourself into a corner and then figure out the way out. Like it's just and I love Oda, but I think he just avoids doing that with Robin, unfortunately. And then it's like it brings up the question of like, did he always have it planned to have Robin like come onto the crew at the end of Alabasta, or did he just think it was cool when he was writing Alabasta, and then it was like, then everything kind of started like making sense for him at that point? We don't know. But
yeah,
it's a character that he needs to just do more with.
Yeah, I think like when One Piece is eventually over, I feel like Oda's gonna release this crazy book like about, oh, I changed this, I added this, like stuff like that, because we already know little things, which is crazy that I'm saying little things in comparison to like, oh yeah, the supernova, I just add them. Like that's not a little thing, but like it was for him. It was a little thing, and now it's not. Like, and I feel like Oda does that all the time. Like, oh yeah, little thing. Like Vivi being a princess. Just a little thing. Now Vivi's getting kidnapped by the main villain of the series. You know what I mean?
Oda was always going to do Alabasta, and there was always going to be a princess. It was the change was that Miss Wednesday was going to be the princess. Yeah. It was they were just going to meet the princess later. But then when he drew Vivi with her hair down, he was like, "Oh, you know what? She's kind of regal. I'm going to move this idea that I have up."
It's wild. It's wild. Like, I was talking to, I think it was Recon, and he was talking about like the planting seed writers versus the immediate like, oh, let's keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. And I think Oda's such a great planting seed writer, you know?
Yes.
Like with the Vivi thing, like he could have just made Vivi be introduced in Alabasta, but let's be for real. Would we care about Vivi nearly as much if Vivi was just in a like, it was a relatively long arc at the time, obviously, the longest in the series so far. But even in comparison to like Rebecca, we had like as long as the Baroque Works saga in Dressrosa, pretty much, you know? And I feel like the time you spend with the characters is what makes you care in the first place. So having Vivi be introduced in Alabasta, it probably wouldn't hit the same at all. You know, seeing, you know, all these things, the stepping stones for Vivi developing a relationship with the crew, that's what makes it hit so hard.
It's one of the most underrated and best character arcs of any character in the entire series, because it actually is like a full, complete arc.
Yeah, and it's still going. I mean,
it's still going.
She's still relevant. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's crazy. Yeah, whenever she eventually reunites with Luffy, it's gonna be a banger. You know, I feel like that's like a Shanks Luffy thing. It's like when we meet again, will I still be your friend? Like, bro, that's been going for what, 20 years? You think they're not gonna reunite? Crazy. Crazy.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Barry said she's low-key a Montdoor stan. Me too. Like, I might he's definitely top 2, top 3 Charlotte kids for me.
Okay, wait, okay. Now we gotta know. So is Katakuri top 1? I assume he is, right? Or
no. Today it's Perispero. Tomorrow it might be Montour.
What? Okay, so that's crazy. Because for me, I used to be a Katakuri dude. Like, he was my guy when he was introduced. I was like, this character's so cool. His power is crazy. The backstory was cool. It wasn't like too crazy, but it was as an older sibling, I related. I related to the empathy, not empathized, sympathized, whatever. I related to it. I was like, yeah, the big bro vibes.
Yeah, Katakuri is great, but all right.
Yeah.
These are my top Charlotte kids. Perispero, Montdor, Daifuku, Armand, and let's see, who's 5? Maybe Oven.
Okay, Oven's cool. I can't believe the pudding slander, bro. Pudding is the goat.
Ooh, pudding.
Pudding's the goat. It's just like,
yeah, pudding over Oven.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, because like I said, I used to be a Katakuri, yeah. But then I started like
Perispero, Montour, Pudding, Daifuku, Armand.
Okay. For me, Pudding
Oven, then
Pudding has
Katakuri.
risen to be one of my goats. Pudding has risen to be one of my goats. And I'm just like, I love this character. Like, I feel like there's nothing wrong about this character at all. Even though people are like, what's going on in the second half? But I'm like, no, this is peak. This is peak writing from Oda. And I love just a Brûlé, of course. Amazing character as well. Loved her. Loved the trauma.
Did not love her during the forest part of that arc. I don't know.
Oh, the begin. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's like
that was rough. That was rough. That's
Yeah.
why that was rough. Even weekly. I'm not a Cracker fan.
yeah, he's pretty mid.
Yeah.
He's pretty mid, to be honest. When he got no diffed by Aokiji, though, I was like, oh my god.
Oh. Yeah.
That was cinema. Now, and of course, you got like Lola and Chiffon. I love Chiffon. Chiffon's great. Yeah, there's so many great characters, and I feel like Oda, when he was in, I think Whole Cake's one of my favorite arcs because of just the creativity, the drama, just seeing all these very insane like themes get plopped into this one situation. And Wano is like similar, but I feel like it's just not the same. It's just not the same for me. Which is not to
Wano
discredit.
is one of those arcs that would have done better with less. Okay,
so
I think it just needed more focus. It was too big, and it took too long to get to things, and some things fell on the back burner. So that was it. There's still a lot of it that I love. I love Act 1. Act 2 is got some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows in Wano. And then Act 3, again, some of the highest highs, lowest lows.
I feel like I've seen so many people say Wano is rushed, and I get it. Wano probably is rushed around the end. It probably is. But
at the end, for sure.
They're like, oh, why are we wasting all this time at the beginning with like this sumo guy and like Wayne D. Bruce? Why are we wasting our time with these guys?
Wayne D.
And
Bruce
it's like,
was not a waste, bro. That was not a waste, all right? Especially in the anime, my man came through with all 3 forms of Haki.
we were setting up a legend, okay? Think about it. If Wayne D. Bruce is under Kaido, imagine Kaido, But it's like, I feel like you need, and One Piece does this all the time. You need that slow intro. You get invested in the world, the characters, the plight of the people. Oda does this all the time. And then Act 2 I thought was cool as well. I mean, now they're in prison. Now Kid's here. Big Mom's here. Like, I don't know, a lot of suspense, a lot of stuff like that.
I kind of wish that Oda went with his original plan of having only like 4 Scabbards. Like, there was just way too much. Like, I don't know which ones I would cut, for that matter or anything like that. But, it's like, I feel like you can do the story with Kinemon, Denjiro, Kiku, and
Kanjuro for sure. You need Kanjuro for the twist. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like as much as I love Raizo, it's like I don't need him. I don't need Doji, even though he had a great sacrifice and all that stuff. Like, but it's like, it's a situation where, like, the Izu thing was cool from the sense of like, let's bring a character that was like in the background during Marineford and like elevate them.
The main stage.
But it's also having all of these characters to just kill 2 of them anyway, and by having all of these characters, you're underrepresenting the characters that need more representation, because it's not just Wano is something that was set up in Thriller Bark as something that our crew was going to achieve, and I just feel like there's just more that could have been done. I think if you spend less time on the dilemma of the Scabbards, more time on the plight of the people, put more focus on Kaido's immediate crew, so more time spent with Jack, Queen, and King, so that those fights between our core people have an even greater impact. It's like, there's no reason why I should like Mr. One versus Zoro more than I like King versus Zoro. Like, that should have been the best Zoro fight. And sure, the anime like knocked it out of the park, but why do I? And is it just like nostalgia bias? But it's like, why do I think back to the Mr. One fight and think that there were just way bigger stakes? Why is that my feeling when in the meantime Kaido has this like island in the sky about to fall on a bunch of people, and the stakes are literally higher than they were in Alabasta, but it also doesn't feel like it, because I'm constantly being thrown around and shown all of these other things that aren't necessarily coalescing. So that's one of the issues when I say like it could have been condensed, it could have been compressed, and it would like just hit. Yeah.
I think a great example for like that point is that there would be some. I recently did a reread, kind of like I said, of those chapters for the tier list thing, and there were so many chapters in Wano that was just like, we're here now, we're here now, we're here now, we're here now, and it was just skip to like everything, and it's just like, while sometimes it really works in a cool way, like when Big Mom gets crashed through the floor. Sorry, there's a plane right now. Not sure if you can hear that. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Yeah, emu's coming from me right now. But like when Big Mom gets like shot through the floor and Yamato sees Big Mom, like that is cool. I like stuff like that because it makes you feel like it's all connected. So I thought that was pretty cool. Enies Lobby did that really well as well. Yeah, obviously with some of the fights like interacting kind of like very seamlessly. Yeah, but I wish there were some chapters that just were more like the whole thing is one chapter versus like 17 different things in one chapter, you know? And I do think with the 5 Scabbards idea, you could still put Inu and Neko, you can make it 7 because they're pretty cool characters as well in Azo. But you could still have a lot of them die as well. You know, Kanjuro, obviously, he's dead. Izo dead. You know, so that's already 2 of them, like you said. and you wouldn't need Ashura. Kanjuro's still a traitor, but whatever. And then let's say Oda actually did kill a lot of these people. Kinemon might be dead. Okiku might be dead. You know, like, because you were talking about 1014 as well.
Hold on a second. Here, talk to the chat for a minute.
All right, got you. Yo, Savage Crew, what's up? Guys, give me your hot takes. What's your hottest take at the moment? Yeah, cut Ashura Doji and Kawamatsu. I was gonna say Kawamatsu. I feel like he's kind of irrelevant in the grand scheme. He took care of Hiyori, and then didn't even manage to do that, and then went to prison. Like, sure, that's fine, but like, do we need him? Do we need him? You could have kept that cool like Fishman in Wano thing. You know, maybe give it to Dendro if we're saying Dendro's still kicking. That could be cool. Because I like the Kappa gimmick. That's fun. Kappa gimmick is fun. Yeah, know how it is. Only one I cared was Ashura, but he's gone. That's interesting. You thought that Ashura was your favorite. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever heard that. I like it though. I respect that. Wano is the weakest post time skip arc. That I think that's kind of wild because, like, you know, Punk Hazard is ultimately a setup arc at the end of the day, and I feel like Caesar's kind of a lackluster villain. It does have a lot of stakes, obviously, but I don't know. I feel as though Wano just it has more. But maybe a lot of people, I think, have the expectation that Wano was meant to be the greatest thing ever, which is valid because of how much Oda built it up. But I do think that just on the premise alone of like Luffy versus some Yonko and Kid Law versus Yonko, like that's hype. That's infinitely more cool, in my opinion, than anything in Punk Hazard, you know? Which obviously did set up a lot of this stuff, but you know how it is. Do you think Kizaru dies this arc? That's fire. That is a fire idea. Now I'm not entirely sure because I do like him being the cog in the machine. Because I actually did a video on this relatively recently, talking about the purpose of the Admirals going forward. Like, what is Green Bull gonna do? What is Fujitora gonna do? What is Kizaru gonna do? And for me, so many people think Kizaru's gonna like switch sides and stuff, and I feel like having Kizaru switch sides would do effectively what he doesn't want to do, which is make the Marines fall apart. You know, that would obviously be a pretty bad thing. And if he stays around, you know, the Marines are going to be more involved in the plot and continue to be evolving in the plot. But if he leaves, the Marines are going to fall apart. Like you said, he's the cog in the machine. If he's out, the machine is gone. Unless they get another admiral. Who would that be, though? You know, and at this point, would we care about who another admiral is? How are they going to get an admiral like that? It seems impossible. It seems impossible. All the cutting around made it hard to get invested at any one moment. That's fair. That's definitely fair. Robin should have fought Big Mom for the title of Big Mommy. Now that, I like that. Jay Spoon, you're cooking. You're cooking. I don't know if it's a hot take, but Whole Cake Island, the best post-time skip arc. Yo, Maxo, you're cooking, man. You're cooking. I think Whole Cake, fire, great setting, great characters, a lot of drama. Love it. Love it to death. Love it to death. Who will break Doflamingo out of prison? So Playboy Johnny Carter, I'm thinking what we got going on there is we have Marco going to break Weevil out of Impel Down and with Bakken. And at that same time, Dofi then gets broken out as well. I think that's got to be where that's going. Hiyori was annoying as a side character and how Oda used her. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. I like that, though. I kind of like the toxicity for that one. Oh, no. Accidentally went to the top.
No.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, sorry about that. Chrissy needed some help with something.
All good. All good.
So I think I'm gonna start winding the stream down though. Let's switch away from Wano. I want to we're an Egghead.
Let's get out. Let's get out.
The what's your thoughts on the message? What do you want to get out of this?
So I feel as though the message, I do like the flood angle. Obviously this has been a theory for forever, the flood theory. So it's really cool that this is like confirmed, which is awesome. And you know, I feel like what I'm hoping for is almost a reason as to why Enies Lobby exists. I think that would be really interesting. And what I also think would be cool is Vegapunk showing all the stuff the Straw Hats have done in order to make the world government, you know, hurt in a way, but kind of how they spin it to make them look like the bad guys. Like, kind of like, you know how in the Kuma flashback, we saw Kuma's point of view on Thriller Bark. We saw Kuma's point of view at Sabaody, right? What if Kuma, obviously at this point, he's slowly turning into a robot at these points in the story in Thriller Bark and Sabaody. What if that entire time, because we know his eyes are weird, Kuma has weird eyeballs, what if he's been recording stuff the whole time, right? What if we see from Kuma's point of view what the Straw Hats were doing? That would be interesting. Like, we see them beat a celestial dragon, save a fishman, and we get this explanation about how the people at the top are like bad, and they can be bad because they don't have to worry about this flood. You know, some way to make it full circle around like Kuma and Luffy, and showing that Luffy is the future and not a bad person, obviously.
I like that take.
But if we're talking about lore stuff, I hope we do learn about like why is Enies Lobby have the hole in it? It's obviously got to relate to what happened to Lucia. You know, it has to relate to that, in my opinion. But we know Enies Lobby's been around for such a long time. So
yeah, I want the confirmation that, you know, Uranus, the Mother Flame, was utilized on Enies Lobby, and that's the reason why all the wacky weather is happening. Because if that was pushing, if what happened to Lucia raised the world's water 1 meter, then that happening to Enies Lobby would have done the same or more, and then everything around it, all of the affected areas, all the surrounding areas would be affected as well. Aqua Laguna, you got the rising tide in Long Ring Longland, you have the knock upstream, all of this stuff has to be connected. So that's what I'd like to get out of this. I'd also like him to talk about Nika, so that you know, and that actually ties into, you know, what you're saying about, you know, emphasizing things about Luffy. You know, the one thing that I've been saying I want out of the message is that he explains to people what Nika is, because that would also basically kind of give Luffy more stain in the game anyway, because he is the sun god now.
He's that god. That guy. But I think that's really interesting, because I think this. We were actually talking about this in DMs. I think it was like a month ago or something, and you were talking about how that would basically give him like a spirit bomb power up thing, which I love. I think that idea is fire, but I think it works better because, say, because I was talking about Bonnie's powers, which are obviously able to emulate anything. Like, you know, Bonnie is Gear 5 powers somehow.
Yeah. Give me a Zoro-ish future. She picks up 3 swords and knows how to use them.
It's like that Nami design. The 3-sword Nami. 3-sword Bonnie. Simple as that. Nope. But I think having that ability, like, if you believe in something, it will come true. That was how devil fruits seemingly were made in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I don't see how. Oh, they know what, you know, the sun god is. They know that Luffy is that guy. They'll probably be like, you know, some people might have just heard it and been like, it's real. You know, like all the people in Elbaf, they seem to follow this to some degree. You know, the fact they called him should we say, sun god the second they pulled up to Egghead. But so yeah, I definitely like the idea that Luffy will get stronger because of that. I don't know if I don't love it. Like, I'm not like, oh, he's got to get this crazy buff, because I feel like that would be kind of counterintuitive to how much Luffy has done stuff on his own. It's almost kind of like how the titles in the One Piece world make people fear you more. You know, I feel like that's a major trend in the story. Like, people like Law and Blackbeard were warlords, but at the same exact extent, people like Moria is a warlord. You know, and that's not to discredit Moria. It's just to say, like, once you have a title, you can kind of stagnate in a way. Or like a Yonko, like Big Mom and Kaido, they also, I feel like they stagnated. They didn't really try as much. And Shanks, we know he stagnated. He didn't even want to go for it.
But I don't, I don't really think that Luffy has done it all on his own. He's actually done it with his crew. He's done it with people believing in him.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, he has achieved things, but he has done it with the help of people. So it's, I think one of the messages that Oda is getting across is like, some of the people that tried to do things on their own failed. It's only when you work together, when you believe in other people, when other people believe in you, when you manifest, that you're able to actually like achieve your dreams.
Okay. I just realized I like that way more now, because like, think about Alabasta, you know, think about Skypiea, think about Thriller Bark, you know, all these places have people who are like pretty much begging that Luffy wins. You know, they're like, please. In Skypiea, they're literally praying to Luffy.
What does Luffy yell at Vivi about? Stop trying to do everything on your own. You have us. Believe in us. So it's. I think those are really the. I think that's one of the biggest hidden messages of the story that is actually really overt. But I would love to keep talking, but I need to handle some things, so I got to run.
Gotcha.
And we got to end this here. But I want to thank everybody for coming for this week's Theory for Theory. We'll be back here for 10:14 to hopefully see more of the message this Sunday. I am still editing the Luffy lineage video, and I want everybody to definitely go and hit the like, comment, subscribe button if you're hitting the vibe with Kev Dog. All right, Kev D OG. Well, right? He is very close to 10K. You know, maybe we can help him get there. And
and I'm gonna get a tattoo at 10K as well. And I'm being hush hush on what it is. What's it gonna be, guys?
Well, I'll be on the lookout. Yeah, I gotta go produce Kendrick's next diss. So.
Oh. You're going with Mustard? You're gonna hang out with Mustard right now?
Thanks again, everybody. And this was great. We definitely cooked.
Yeah.
Buggy stuff was great. A lot of the stuff we were hitting on was some good stuff. So appreciate you, brother. And I'll see everybody soon.
Yes, sir.
Toss on the credits here.
Savage.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that was fire. That was fire. I feel like it's interesting because I talk about One Piece all the time, but I also don't talk about One Piece all the time. You know what I mean?